Next on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, we bring you some of our favorite stories from Boehringer Ingelheim Vet Medica.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. This week, we're bringing you some of our favorite educational stories brought to you by Boehringer Ingelheim Vet Medica. Let's take a look. For cow-calf producers, reproductive success is vital to their business. And if a disease outbreak occurs, it can affect all areas of the operation. Luckily, there are programs available that can keep cows healthy before they breed and help ensure a healthy pregnancy. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter heads to Throckmorton, Texas to learn more about the benefits of having a good pre-breeding vaccination program.
A disease outbreak can be detrimental to any cow-calf operation, not to mention the high level of emotional and financial stress that comes along with it. And many producers may not realize just how easy it is for their herd to contract and spread a disease.
Especially with cattle movement and things of this nature, we have a potential of exposure to neighbors, to livestock that cross the fence or may come across the fence even, as far as that goes. So the potential is always there to have outside animals introduce disease to our herd. And we don't have to do it just by purchasing, which we can do it that way, but also by just fence-to-fence contact.
However, having a pre-breeding vaccination program in place can help avoid many of these potential diseases, as well as increase reproductive success.
The options that producers have today are a lot better than they have been in the past. We've had some advances in terms of some of the studies and some of the work that's been done to incorporate some of our modified live vaccines, especially in that pre-breeding phase, to really enhance that immune response in the female.
Pre-breeding vaccinations are very important to us because we have a very short and very confined breeding season. The cattle don't have the opportunity to breed very many times, and so we need them to be at their peak of health and ready to breed when the bulls are introduced to them.
Barrett Clark, owner of Clark Cattle Company in Throckmorton, Texas, introduced a pre-breeding vaccination program to his cow-calf operation 8 years ago.
We had battled some locally prevalent diseases the prior years to introducing the pre-breeding vaccine, and at that point decided to try to fine-tune our program and maximize our calf crop the best we could.
That's when Clark added Boehringer Ingelheim Vet Medica Incorporated's Express FP10 vaccine to his pre-breeding program. Just 1 year later, he began to see substantial results.
Express FP10 has been a great product for us. We began using it in our mature cows nearly 8 years ago. We saw an increased breed up the first year. We've seen an even greater response the subsequent years by boosting it. We've also begun using it in our keeper heifers, getting them immunized with the same product prior to breeding them their first time, and have seen even greater response starting the cows as a heifer as opposed to introducing it the first time in the mature cow herd.
If I was going to look at the advantages of the Express FP10, it's going to really have to do with the demonstrated high level of efficacy that we've done through a number of studies. The fact that we can put on the label that we prevent PI calves, persistently infected BVD calves. That would be really the number one thing, and then the fact that it's a good combination with virals and then some of the lepto components as well makes it a very good tool.
Let's return to reporter Brian Baxter in Throckmorton, Texas, who's learning more about how you can implement an effective pre-breeding vaccination program in your operation.
In addition to Express FP10, Boehringer Ingelheim Vet Medica Incorporated has other pre-breeding vaccination options to address specific diseases in different areas of the country.
Express FP10, for example, is a combination of modified live viruses and also 5 serovars of leptospirosis. The FP3 VL5, Express FP3 VL5, is IBR and BVD, types 1 and type 2, and then also Vibrio plus 5 serovars of leptospirosis. So it does not have all of the respiratory viruses included with it, just primarily focusing on reproductive concerns. Then the third vaccine that we looked at today is TrichGuard, which is for trichomonas infections, and that is a unique vaccine for certain areas of the country, primarily where trich is more of a problem, and is designed to help in those situations.
Dr. Campbell warns that producers should be aware of the long-term health impacts any of these diseases can have on the herd.
Some of these diseases are going to primarily cause infertility or abortion, which is short-term. But for example, again, if we go back to the bovine virus diarrhea, the persistently infected calf, that calf, if he becomes infected and is born alive, will shed virus the remainder of his life and potentially expose all other cattle that it comes into contact with. So it's a lifelong situation, may affect his performance as well as the performance of all those in the pen with him.
Not only has Clark seen improved herd health as a result of having a pre-breeding vaccination program in place, he's also seen financial success.
It makes just a huge impact on the bottom line of the operation, not to mention the ancillary values of the better herd health. Helps us with the marketing of the cattle. It helps us with the weights of the cattle at weaning and bring a higher price there as well. But really just helps us generate higher numbers of cattle with the same amount of cows. More calves with the same number of cows.
When giving pre-breeding vaccinations of any kind, the timing is very important to keep in mind in order to maximize your results.
The timing is important for a number of reasons, and part of that, first of all, is to give the female time to respond to those antigens. So we have to get it out ahead of time so that she has that opportunity. And then the other thing is we want to maximize and have her at the highest level of protection at the time that conception occurs and through that early gestational phase where they're so susceptible and to infection and problems.
In addition to good timing, proper handling is extremely important in order to get the most benefit out of the vaccine.
We want to make sure that we don't mix up too much vaccine ahead of time. We want to use a vaccine in a relatively short period of time after it's been mixed, roughly a half an hour or thereabouts. Needs to be kept stored in the proper conditions, and that would include both keeping it cool and especially on modified live viruses in the sunshine and all. Ultraviolet light is very detrimental to a modified live virus, so we need to keep it protected, like into a cooler.
Producers like Barrett Clark are glad they can count on Boehringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Incorporated and the products they provide to keep their operations going strong.
We've been using the Boehringer Ingelheim products now for a good many years, and we have a great deal of trust in their brand, and the products that they give us are consistent and do what they're advertised to do.
And if producers don't currently have a pre-breeding vaccination program in place, Dr. Campbell says having one is a huge advantage to any operation.
They need to incorporate pre-breeding vaccination as part of that program because it's going to increase their productivity. It's going to increase the calf crop, and it's going to increase their ability to produce calves for their income. So it's a very much an economic advantage to them to incorporate pre-breeding vaccination programs.
The pre-breeding vaccinations are now the cornerstone of our program. They fit in in a timing situation for where we have the cattle and our ability to give them their shots, and they also allow us to boost those vaccinations later on the second time that we're handling the cattle anyway. So they work for us from a timing standpoint, and they are the cornerstone of our animal health program.
In Throckmorton, Texas, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
If you're interested in learning more about Boehringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Incorporated and how their products, like the Express FP10, might help you in your operation, just log on to our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. We'll be right back.
Discover a great roundup for beef producers. Now, Boehringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Incorporated has rounded up the top brands of animal health products. You bet your boots you won't find more ways to protect your cattle. So trust the leader to protect your cattle. Trust Boehringer Ingelheim. Talk to your Boehringer Ingelheim animal health representative and discover how we can help your operation.
I'd like a moment with you cow-calf folks to talk about BQA, the Beef Quality Assurance Program. BQA has been designed to reduce bruises, blemishes, lamenesses, and impolite behavior in the calves shoe market. The point is to guarantee as best we can to our buyers and to consumers that we cattlemen know what we're doing, that we're treating our animals right, and the meat they buy is safe and wholesome. Now, most of the big feedlots and ranchers have signed on already, but that leaves the rest of us, and even if you only have 20 cows and a job in town, you need to be involved. Because every calf you sell is going to wind up on a plate someday, and we want our customers, all of them, to have a great dining experience, right? BQA helps furnish you with management tools and useful information to increase the value of your calves. So check it out at bqa.org and see what it takes to be involved in your state, because it's the right thing to do.
Comprehensive, practical, powerful. Now's the time to put the power of DNA to work in your herd with the comprehensive Identity Profile. The inside information from Identity can help you make more confident replacement heifer and herd sire selection decisions, add marketability to your feeder cattle, make faster genetic progress, and more. The best time to get started is when you're already working cattle, during branding, weaning, or bull soundness exams. Get started today. Visit iGenity.com or call 1-877-IGENITY to put the power of DNA to work in your herd. Tough trailers built for tough country. Big Ben Trailers manufactures a different kind of trailer, one that's built to put up with the rough conditions found on the ranch. Rugged build using heavy gauge powder coated steel and a 2x4 rectangle tube frame. There's a 1-inch gap between the side and floor, so there's no place for water or manure to accumulate and rust. Big Ben trailers are loaded with standard features: a lever action hitch, a 3-foot escape gate, and a middle sorting gate, rhino lining along the front edges, and a receiver hitch to tow another trailer, chute, or other equipment. Tough and practical. That's Big Ben Trailers, designed and built by a working cattleman. You can rely on and trust Big Ben Trailers for their durability and convenient features. Reasonably priced for any rancher to afford. For a list of dealers and other design features, visit BigBenTrailers.com. Big Ben Trailers, built cattlemen tough.
Welcome back. There's something for everyone at the Cattle Industry Annual Convention, no matter how old or young you are. This year, the future generation of cattlemen were hard at work learning the ropes of live cattle evaluation. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Sharon Alseth has more.
The 2010 convention in San Antonio, Texas brought together kids of all ages and backgrounds to compete in a youth cattle judging contest.
It's been a part of my life ever since I was born, and that's just been one of the things that's been in my family for 3 generations. I've kind of had a natural thing for it.
I've been judging since I was about 8 years old. I just do livestock judging because it just comes easy to me.
Kids ranging in age from 4 to 21 tried their hand at judging 10 different classes of cattle.
They're looking for the overall quality of the animal. They're choosing which one they like the best, looking at things like muscling, structure, breed character, the overall contributions that that animal can make to the beef industry.
The breeding cattle classes are mainly on structure and best things that will convert into good cows and good bulls that will make better calves for future reference. And then the market steers are basically for the product that consumers eat every day, like the ribeye and things like that. You have to place them in order which you think is best to worst, and then on some of the classes they ask questions and you have to write notes in order to answer those questions correctly.
But it's not as easy as it may sound. There's a lot to consider when judging cattle, and some classes are more difficult to judge than others.
I don't like judging this type. They're hard. They're Brahmins. They slope off. They're made different from Angus and other cows.
About halfway done right now, and I think I've been doing pretty good, so hopefully I end up all right today.
Besides taking home a cash prize, there are a few other perks to participating in the contest.
Missing school and hanging out with most of my 4-H friends and just judging animals.
But wise in their young age, these kids know that youth events can help them in the future, and they have their sights set high.
Because I hope to be good enough to get into the A&M judging team.
It's one of the things I like to do, and it could end up going somewhere in college doing this as well. It's really a good event for kids to come out and do.
The judging program is a great tool for young people because it teaches them decision-making skills and then how to defend their decisions and explain why they made those decisions, and that's something that they can use in any career that they choose.
And it's no surprise that NCBA supports the future generation by offering these youth events during the convention.
The beef industry has a huge commitment to educating the next generation, and it's shown here by the probably 200 kids that are here learning these skills, and the leaders of the NCBA and other beef associations are committed to these young people and helping them be the best that they can be and providing them the framework for a good career.
Reporting from San Antonio, Texas, I'm Sharon Alseth for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
I can say from experience, this is a great opportunity for young people. Now, if you're interested in attending next year's convention or participating in the judging contest, you can log on to beefusa.org for more information. It'll take place right here in Denver, Colorado. There are some indications that 2010 is shaping up to be a better year in terms of cattle supplies and prices. But cattle prices are only one of the factors that pose a risk to your bottom line as a producer. At the recent Cattlemen's College, one of the intensive education sessions focused on risk management strategies for your cattle business. We learned more from Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brad Bulla.
We had the opportunity this morning at the Pfizer Cattleman College sessions to talk to producers about managing risk in these various segments of the industry, whether they're cow-calf operators, stockers, backgrounders, or finishing feed yards. So those were the things that we discussed in there, try to give them some ideas to stimulate their thinking on what they can do to do a better job of managing risk in this business.
The risk management session was very well done. There were a number of attendees there. We talked about the cow-calf and fat cattle relationship and how it affects one another, also how psychology affects the markets and so forth.
No doubt the past few years in the cattle business has been very difficult, no matter what segment of the industry you are in. From sky-high input costs to a weak U.S. economy driving down beef demand, there have been a number of factors increasing the risk cattlemen face.
I think as we look at the business environment we're in today, the first thing we all have to, the conclusion we have to come to is it's a different business than it was 20 years ago. We all know historically if we'd go through a period of losing money for 2 years, then we'd get it all back in the next 18 months to 2 years. In my opinion, those days are gone. I don't believe we're going to see that. These markets are so much better informed that once we get to one of those real profitable windows, we'll bid up the price of replacement cattle immediately to where the next turn there won't be any margin left in it.
With the window of opportunity to capture profits or control costs being small these days, Block says it's imperative that producers learn the ins and outs of risk management tools such as futures and options, and then see how the tools can best be used to manage risk to their individual cattle operation.
I would say there's no one tool that's right for everybody. Everybody's businesses are different, everybody's borrowing bases are different, their financing behind their operations. People have to pick and choose based on the way their production systems are pulled together. We've got a lot of people that use futures and options. We've got a lot of people that use basis contracts. We've got people that are involved in all kinds of coordinated production alliances that drive to a branded beef program. I think it's important for producers to figure out which one of those tools works best.
And mastering risk management tools is only becoming more critical for cattle producers because Block says the volatility in the cattle business is here to stay.
If we continue to try to operate in this business environment without mitigating some of the risks that we have, I'm not sure we're going to like the results. I don't see us going back to where we've got corn that's trading from $1.50 to $2.50 a bushel. Corn's going to stay elevated over a long period of time. I believe crude oil prices, diesel fuel prices are going to stay at elevated levels. Hay prices are going to be elevated. Fertilizer, all of those things are connected. And as we transfer into more of this global marketplace, the weakness in the dollar, strength in the dollar, wherever it may be, driven by government policy, and of course we can see the government debt structure that we've got here in the U.S. today, all of these things create volatility. So I think we will not be well served if we try to do it the way we were doing it 20 and 30 years ago.
Block says the bottom line is the same as the overall message of Cattlemen's College. Keep learning and sharpen your skills to apply what you learn to build your beef cattle business.
Get plugged in. Get plugged in. CattleFax has been around for 42 years. We can help producers. We deal with producers all over the industry, all over the United States on a daily basis in every segment of this business.
From the Cattle Industry Convention in San Antonio, I'm Marvin Kokash reporting for Cattleman to Cattleman.
Randy Block and CattleFax were a part of NCBA's 17th annual Cattlemen's College that offered 15 different educational sessions to cattlemen. To learn more about Cattlemen's College and how you can attend in 2011, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org.
Get ready for the Rocky Mountain Roundup. Join the 2011 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in the city that gets 300 days of sun a year, Denver, Colorado. It's not only a great opportunity to connect with your fellow cattlemen, but you will also attend important industry meetings, find out about the newest technologies, and get all the information you need for a successful year. We'll see you in Denver at the Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show, February 2nd through the 5th. For more information, visit beefusa.org.
These days, more cattlemen choose Draxxin to fight BRD than any other brand. Here's why.
It works. We have fewer repulls, and the ones that we do repull respond, and we have fewer chronics in the end.
To retreat anything it's a lot more expensive than using Draxxin as a first time.
And the evidence backs up what most cattlemen already know. Draxxin cuts retreats by 50%. So talk to your veterinarian and check the online calculator at Draxxin.com. You'll see why Draxxin should be your first choice to fight BRD.
Basically what it's allowed us to do with our operation is run more cattle through in a given period of time. It's just really been a good product to use.
Do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older. Do not use in calves to be processed for veal. Draxxin has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 18 days. Please visit Draxxin.com or call 1-888-DRAXXIN for more information.
Your older utility tractor's never been worth more. Come into your John Deere dealer and we'll custom make a deal just for you. Cash discounts, 0% financing. Either way, we'll give you a great deal and put you in a new John Deere 20 to 140 horsepower utility tractor. Stop by your John Deere dealer today and see why John Deere quality has never been easier to own. Offer ends July 31st. Offer subject to approved credit on John Deere credit installment plan. See dealer for details.
Profit, confidence, value. That's what you get with Tri-Merit, a USDA process-verified program brought to your operation by Global Animal Management Incorporated. Tri-Merit's data management system certifies traditional health processes as well as verifies age and source of individual and groups of animals. To learn more about how Tri-Merit can play a positive role in your operation, visit mygamonline.com.
Quality matters to me because I'm responsible for managing the natural resources under my care, providing clean water and healthy feed, and creating an environment that fosters new life. I care for mother cows and newborn calves, nurturing them through the beginning of the life cycle. The entire beef industry is relying on me to provide a quality product they can work with. This is the beginning of the American beef industry. I am proud of what we'll do here today.
Welcome back. Beef Northwest is a company that has managed to successfully mix the industry's tradition and honor with modern business practices. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Dave Russell recently had the chance to learn more.
The beef industry is known for its proud history, but it also needs to keep up with the times. With operations in Oregon and Washington, Beef Northwest is a family-owned company doing that with a reputation going back nearly a century and a half.
My partner in the business today is Jim Wilson. He's a first cousin, and his and my great-great-grandfather came across the Oregon Trail in the late 1860s, early 1870s. They settled in the Baker or North Powder Valley in the early 1870s, and we actually have a Century Farm in Oregon that was established in 1878.
Beef Northwest was started in 1991. We have 3 feedlots, 2 in Oregon, 1 in Washington. We have a capacity of 95,000 head. It's also integrated with a company called Wilson Cattle Company, which is really a backgrounding stocker operation, grass operation. That's been in the Wilson family for 5 generations, since the 1800s. And so the stocker operation, the grass operation, grazes cattle throughout the Northwest and California and feeds into Beef Northwest feedlots. So it's really a vertically integrated operation with Wilson Cattle and Beef Northwest.
Through the years, the Wilsons have made respect the cornerstone of the family-owned operation.
There have been multiple siblings as partners within our family business for 4 generations, and you don't do that in the ranching business without a certain amount of respect that's being passed through. And I think within the family there's a lot of respect, but I hope that it's been passed along to all the management, the employees that we have, and then on through that to our customers and partners.
We have good relationships with our packers. We see the opportunity in integrating ourselves all the way back to the producer and providing them the kinds of information that they need and helping them be successful. And we also are working with our packers to provide them the kind of product they want. And we're the largest supplier of cattle to Tyson in the Northwest, and we see that as a great opportunity to work with them and developing grids and developing the kind of cattle that work for them too.
Creating win-win situations gets more than just lip service at Beef Northwest.
The margins in our industry are so low that if we're not together on both sides of the balance sheet, on both sides of a deal, it's not going to be sustainable. And I think the sustainability of our industry is in the balance between forming kind of partnerships all the way through the supply chain. We can't have our vendors going out of business. We can't allow our cow producer partners to go out of business. We can't. If our packers go out of business, we're in trouble. We feel like by establishing partnerships, we've got buy-in on both sides of the deal.
The last year has been tough, but like most in the cattle business, managers at Beef Northwest are optimistic.
We view the upcoming year as an opportunity. We think that if we can get any kind of a spark back in the demand side of our business, that we're in a great position to supply a good product and make some profit with it.
Focusing on their business, Beef Northwest depends on the National Cattlemen's Beef Association to protect their interest in Washington, D.C. and the public.
I think it's particularly important in the cattle industry because we tend to be so independent, and ranchers don't want interference. They don't want people on the ranch. They're doing what they're doing for a very specific reason, and a lot of that has to do with independence, which tends to make us maybe hide out a little bit from the public and hide out a little bit from some of these issues that are going on out there. If we didn't have our trade organizations representing us, I think we would really have some serious public relation type or image type issues because we're not the kind of people that naturally get in front of big crowds and tell our story.
There are so many issues out there that are so important to our industry, and we feel that the National Cattlemen's Beef Association represents us well. And we can't be every place all the time, and those people that are in the NCBA, we have a lot of confidence in. And we put a lot of stock in NCBA to represent our interests, and we feel that they're the best national organization to do that. And we're going to continue to support NCBA any way we can to represent the interests of the cattlemen.
I'm Dave Russell reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
You can get more details on Beef Northwest and other C2C stories at cattlemantocattleman.org. There were a number of new and exciting events going on at this year's Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in San Antonio, Texas. But one of the most popular events was the NCBA Invitational Bull Riding at Cowboys Dance Hall. Reporter Brian Baxter gets an up-close and personal look at the competition and shows us how the Cowboys themselves were auctioned off as part of this first ever NCBA event.
I love bull riding.
Different every night, you know, everything go wrong.
They have the best bull riders right here, and the Pen of Bulls is one of the best in the world.
It's just man against beast, you know. It's the one thing in sports that can't be controlled, you know.
The NCBA Invitational Bull Riding event brought together 40 of the best bull riders in the world to compete in the roughest and toughest sport on dirt.
It's an opportunity for cattlemen all across the nation to come and watch a sport that they all have a little bit of passion for.
The bull riders brought their go big or go home attitude to the sold-out arena.
If I thought I was going to lose, I'd have stayed at home. There would have been no point in coming.
Some riders have a pretty simple strategy when it comes to holding on for those 8 critical seconds.
It goes pretty fast, and I try not to think about anything. Maybe I have my eyes closed. I'm not real sure. I just nod my head and hold on.
If the event itself isn't enough to get your adrenaline pumping, the Calcutta made it even more exciting for the fans as they had a chance to bid on and buy their favorite cowboy.
My daughter is engaged to an Australian, and she's over there going to college in Australia. I favor the Australian cowboys, so that's why I was determined to get an Australian cowboy, and I got one. And when my boy's riding, I will be standing up cheering him on.
We bought Travis Sellers and Elliot Jacoby. I figured we had a pretty good shot with him. He's hot.
I'm rooting for Brian Richardson tonight.
And the excitement was over the top when the final bids came around.
I stood up and went, yes! They told me not to get on the table. They said, that's okay, you can be excited, just stay on the floor, don't get up on the table.
With names like Clam Digger and Love Machine, the Bulls might have had a little something to do with all the excitement.
Bulls are always favorites.
The matchup pays a lot. I mean, whether it fits the guy.
I got Jared Farley, and I love hot tamales. Hot tamales is my very favorite candy in the whole world, and he's riding hot tamale, so it's doomed. He's going to win.
Unfortunately, Hot Tamale and many others bucked their riders off, but for one fan, a chance meeting and an autograph far outweighed losing the Calcutta pot. And with so many cattlemen at the event, the bull riders felt a strong connection to the audience.
All the cattlemen, I mean, they're cowboys at heart. I mean, they're the true cowboys. The cattle market's high and low, and I mean, when it's good, and when it's bad, it's bad. So, I mean, you just keep poking along, and eventually it'll all work out in the end.
I would say that the income can be about the same. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
Those at the convention say it was a great way to cap off the week in San Antonio.
That's awesome. There's so many people here. I think it was a great idea. It really caps off the weekend. I would recommend that they do it again because I think it's, well received by the members of the Cattle Association.
And no one can disagree with the final message of the night.
Eat beef.
I can honestly say both my wife and I thoroughly enjoyed our evening at the NCBA Invitational. Now remember, next year's Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show will be right here in Denver, Colorado. I hope you'll plan to join us there. We already have the details on our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. We'll be right back.
Discover a great roundup for beef producers. Now, Boehringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Incorporated has rounded up the top brands of animal health products. You bet your boots you won't find more ways to protect your cattle. So trust the leader to protect your cattle. Trust Boehringer Ingelheim. Talk to your Boehringer Ingelheim animal health representative and discover how we can help your operation.
Look, I know you think this is easy, but when I get done here, I gotta tag those calves, check on the foal, fix the fence, and that's all before Jack's game. We're not gonna miss this one. It's the last game of the season. Easy? This is living.
We understand animals make life better. That's why we put so much care into Purina Mills feeds.
If you aren't implanting your calves with Ralgrow, you're leaving money on the table. Ralgrow is tried and true technology that increases average daily gains and improves your utilization of pasture resources. Ralgrow can increase weaning weight in steers and heifers by as much as 20 to 35 pounds, which lowers your break-even point and puts more money in your pocket. Don't leave money on the table. Go to www.ralgrow.com to learn more.
You take pride in the beef you raise. Countless hours invested to assure a safe and wholesome calf crop. Why trust that calf crop to just anyone? Experience the new Dinklage difference. With a long history and reputation for outstanding performance and cattle care. We use a combination of cutting-edge technologies and data-driven decision-making to establish our place as leaders in the cattle feeding industry. Allow Dinklage to be a part of your team in the quest to maximize your profits. With 5 locations to serve you in Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado. For more information on the new Dinklage difference, stop by one of our yards or visit us on the web at dinklagefeedyards.com.
Welcome back. Just east of the Colorado foothills, one cattleman is putting his own stamp on crossbreeding. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter spends a day in the life of Willie Altenberg.
From the Front Range in northern Colorado to the Wyoming border sits the Altenberg Super Baldy Ranch, owned by Willie and Sharon Altenberg. With 175 seed stock cows, the Altenbergs have established a business that combines customer focus, attention to animals, business acumen, and neighbor relations.
My wife and I own it, and we've been in this business about 30 years, and it's seed stock where we sell bulls. We have an annual bull sale, and then we sell females as well. And we have our bull sale 3rd Saturday of March, and that's our primary emphasis, is to sell bulls to commercial operations.
The Altenberg operation has been carefully developed over time.
We put heavy emphasis on AI, and so we wanted to get into the seed stock business, and so with the Simmental you could use an upgrading program, and so through AI we upgraded through the half-blood, 3/4 purebred operation with Simmental, and that's how we decided to get in, and it's worked very well. And then we incorporated Angus into it, and now we do what we call the Super Baldy, which is the half-blood, half-Angus, half-Simmental. The Simmental are the yellow tags, the Angus, both red and black, are the red tags, and the white tags are the F1s, the Simmental Angus crossbred. And we sell bulls of all 3 breeds, of all 3 breed makeups, if you will. And we do not maintain the F1 female here. We sell those. They're in great, great demand because people just love the F1 female. Of course, that's the advantage of the hybrid vigor. So
we have a bull sale in the spring, as we indicated, and we sell Simmental bulls, F1 bulls, and then we sell primarily for calving ease. We sell the Angus, both red and black, for calving ease bulls, and we sell about 70, 75 bulls each year.
It's a model the Altenburgs have found success with and have been able to grow as more technologies entered the beef breeding business.
We use embryo transfer, and we use cooperator herds, and we bring in outside bulls from cooperator herds due to embryo transfer and outside bulls. And so we do a pretty aggressive embryo transfer and AI program to make all that happen. We think it helps the commercial cattlemen. It's exciting to see the cattlemen come to our bull sale and attest to what it does do. The crossbreeding, the hybrid vigor that it adds to the commercial cattle industry, how the cattle work, not only in the feedlot sector and the packing sector, and just how the Continental complements the English, but then how it works for the cow-calf part of it. I mean, they really, really like the females.
The key, Altenburg says, is keeping your eye on the bottom line of your operation.
You have to do everything in your power to watch your costs to maintain profitability, and that's one of the things that crossbreeding helps you do, is to take advantage of. And it may not be a free lunch as people talk about, but crossbreeding does help you take advantage of your costs. We try to do things the old-fashioned way. We trail the cattle back from the ranch. We have the opportunity to do that because we only have to cross a couple ranches. But it's about, depending upon where they are in the summer range, it's about a 12 to 18-mile trail back from the ranch. We only have to cross a couple neighbors to get that done. But we like to do our work horseback because it keeps the cattle much quieter, and it takes a little longer and it's maybe a little slower, but the cattle are really, we work really hard on disposition, and it cuts the bill down on the trucking.
The Altenburgs have found their operation is deeply rooted in the community.
We work closely with our neighbors. We see it as an opportunity. We get people that come by and they stop and they ask questions about our cattle, and we view that as an opportunity instead of a problem. In other words, we'll take families out and talk about our calving and what goes on in the industry, and we sell some freezer beef because of it.
Among the costs Altenburg sees as necessary are his memberships in the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and the Colorado Cattlemen's Association.
It's just one of those checks that you just need to write every year because it's a very, very important part of our operation. I'm not able to make every meeting in the state or on a national basis, but I look forward to the NCBA and CCA representing me on a national and a state basis because they represent my interests.
In Wellington, Colorado, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Join tens of thousands of cattlemen like Willie Altenburg as a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. To do so, call us at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit beefusa.org. And we'll be right back.
Join the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. NCBA is the premier cattle industry organization representing your best interests in Washington, D.C. and across the country.
I want to have my voice heard, and this is the strongest way I can speak it is through NCBA. And my little voice gets a lot of magnitude with this group.
Well, I've been an NCBA member for a long time. My family thoroughly believes in giving back to the industry that they make a living from, and I've carried that on from generation to generation, and this is the organization of choice for the beef industry.
Every day, NCBA works to represent you on issues including trade, taxes, food safety and nutrition, animal welfare, and the environment.
The main reason I'm an NCBA member is to become engaged and more knowledgeable about everything that's going on in the beef industry.
It's easy to join NCBA. Just visit beefusa.org or call us at 1-866-USA-BEEF.
Before you head out here,
Get ready at Cabela's, your source for the hottest new gear at tough-to-beat prices. Save big on everything you need when you shop by catalog, stores, and online at Cabela's.com. Our legendary selection is field-tested and field-proven. You can trust our gear. Cabela's, world's foremost outfitter.
Quality matters to me because our local farmers and ranchers entrust us with the marketing of their livestock each and every week. It's their livelihood and how they provide for their families. Also, friends and families in the community eat at our cafe and watch the auction to be connected with the beef industry. I take great pride in knowing that my livestock auction keeps this community strong and provides our consumers with a great image of the beef they eat. I'm very proud of what we will do here today.
They're out there, lurking on your pasture, just waiting to infect your cattle as they graze. Cattle worms cost you money, but a Safeguard strategic deworming program allows you to deworm your cattle and lower worm burdens on your pasture, resulting in improved pregnancy rates and heavier calf weights. Plus, there's a Safeguard form for every operation, so start killing parasites where they lurk. Talk to your animal health provider today about a Safeguard strategic dewormer program. Safeguard. Think strategically. Act decisively.
Beef Quality Assurance, BQA, is a program designed to ensure the consumer that your beef is safe and wholesome and of the highest quality, and it lets the buyers of your calves know that you know what you're doing. It's consumer friendly and can be a big part of giving them a great dining experience. So check it out at bqa.org and see what it takes to get involved in your state. Whether you got 15 cows or 1,500, it's the right thing to do.
Trust. Out here, it's that rare combination of reliability, integrity, and the peace of mind that comes with having both. After 20 years of making hitches, the B&W Turnover Ball has become the most trusted gooseneck hitch in the country. Why is that important? Because trust is not only hard to earn, it's hard to find. The Turnover Ball Gooseneck Hitch by B&W. Trusted.
Now, I expect most of you cowboys have heard the story about Christmas. Started with this cowboy named Joe. Married a girl named Maria, and she was in the family way. Well, they'd been riding several days, and late one night, they spotted the lights of a little burg. There was only one hotel in town, and Joe offered to chop wood for a room, but they was full up. The clerk said they could lay out the rolls in the livery stable, so Joe built him a nest in one of the stalls and went out to rustle up some grub. Well, when he came back, Maria was fixing to have that baby. Well, Joe panicked. He went looking for a doc, and by the time he'd got back, Maria done had that baby, and it was a boy. And they discussed what to call him, and Joe wouldn't have minded if they'd have named him Joe Jr., but Maria wanted to call him Jesus, a promise she'd made before Joe knew her. Well, Maria was tuckered. Jesus was sleeping like a baby, and Joe was ticking like a $2 watch. And just then he heard singing, and in through the door of the livery come 6 Mexican sheep herders, and they gathered around the baby and said, "He sure looked good. Niño especial," they said. And then they laid out some tortillas and commenced to visit. And then 3 more fellers rode right up with 2 Indian braves and a black cavalry scout, and they told Joe that they'd had a vision and followed a star right to this very spot. And Joe said, "No kidding." Sure enough, they said, this was a special baby. He'd be a chief someday, and that was good news to Joe. And not only that, they brought presents for the baby. Well, Joe and Maria were overwhelmed. One of the herders tied together a little crib and packed the bottom with straw and laid sheepskin over it. Well, Maria laid baby Jesus in it, and he never woke up. He just gurgled and smiled, and then the whole bunch of them stayed up all night talking about Christmas. And Joe never forgot. And he did his best to raise his son right. And when Jesus went on to bigger and better things, Joe'd remember that night, when a handful of strangers helped his little family through a hard time. And he told Jesus about it when he was old enough to understand how just a little kindness to your fellow man can go a long, long way. And Jesus took it to heart. Merry Christmas. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Welcome back. It's amazing to see where we receive different farm and family photos from each week. Let's check out this week's Legacy Photos. Now keep sending us those photos. To do so, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll look forward to seeing you right back here next week on RFD TV.